Hello, everyone. Welcome to Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. We are so happy to have you here with us today. We have an amazing show ahead of us that you guys are going to really, really love and benefit from. It's amazing. Before we get started, I just want to say happy Orthodox Easter to those who celebrate, and Christos Anesti. Yeah. Also, please take time to share this out. Whoever shares out the most will win next week with Rhonda. We'll announce the winner of last week's share out at the end of this episode, and they win with Teresa, so it's exciting. You got to stay tuned to see if you won. We are excited for our guest today. We have Christy Warnick with us, who is one of our original soul sisters, from the very beginning. And she had an awesome show on the Akashic Academy Network we loved watching her show so much. And she is heading in a new direction, which is exciting to hear about. So you guys definitely want to check it out. Today's show is going to be very powerful. So you make sure you anchor it in, bring yourself just in an open space, really tune in and just relax and enjoy, okay? So I'm going to turn it over to Teresa, who's going to introduce our guest.
All right. So as Bex brought out, we love Christy. Christy has always been there, a part of us since the days at the Akashic Academy, and there's a place in the heart. But Christy has been so much to me personally with her healings, with her kind words and support and things. I can't get over it. There was a time when she was remotely healing me, and we didn't have to be on the computer or face to face or anything at all. Just I had to just relax for that healing. But I swear I could see her right in front of me as if she was standing right there. This is how powerful she is, and her energy is so loving. I've been blessed with being able to read her past lives, and I've seen some, ascended master energy that I will just never forget. And so I'm in honor when we get to work with you like this, Christy. You're innovative, you're creative, and you're real. You're real. You're compassionate, caring, and loving. So, welcome to the show, and we're excited to hear what you have today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's great to really connect with you all again. It's been quite a little bit, but I am really enjoying just so much more freedom that's come about from recent events and things. And so it's just it's a beautiful time and to be here as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, that's beautiful to hear. It was great the other day when we heard from you and you reached out and you told us about a new thing. I kind of want to explain just a little bit. Like when we all learned that love is not just a word, that it's like a whole energy field that you can work in and be a part of. Well, there is a special energy field, or probably many of them, that Christy works with, and she has brought our attention to one such. Can you tell us about what you've been doing lately?
Absolutely. So a few months ago, I started, it was just like a couple of months ago, actually. So 2 to 3 months ago, I'm not exactly sure when it happened. I didn't really document anything. I was just kind of going with it. But I got to a point to where there was still just, I felt like there was stuff kind of weighing me down or something. There was like, I don't know, I call it like an unsettled feeling. And I kept trying for the longest time to figure out what that was and why it was there. And because otherwise, I mean, I could look around and everything, I could notice things changing kind of for the better, but there was still just this, I don't know if it was an energy or what it was, but I just felt I don't know, some people, you feel that heaviness or whatever it was. And so for many years before that, though, I'd had some nervous system issues. And so I don't know how all that was connected or what it was, but anyway, so I just kind of was like, okay, I don't know what else to do. So I'm just going to just kind of go with it and see what happens. But I asked that, I call it a pure loving source. So that's for anyone else, that may be God, that may be source, that may be creator, that may be the universe. Because for me, and I like to add those words, pure loving, because everyone has a pure loving soul, just as there is a pure loving source. And so just kind of playing around with that and asking, okay, what can I do? Because I've done all this other stuff and I'm just tired of it. I'm ready to move on from that other stuff that I had been trying, and it just seemed like one thing led to another, and it was kind of like 2 steps forward, 1 step back, and I was just like, okay, can I get off this roller coaster, please? And so I did that, and the words came to me, and it was interesting because I was like, yeah, okay, those are nice words, but what do I do with them? And so it was the words loved and blessed. And I don't know what it was about those words, because people are like, okay, so loved and blessed. Okay, what does that mean? What do I do with that? So I just felt inspired to play with them. And there was just this, when I said them one day, I was just like, there was just like this yes that came out with them. Yes. And then I felt like saying thank you. And so I was just like, there's something to this. I don't know what it is, but I'm okay with playing with that and seeing what happens. So and it's really the application of this, because they are just words, but they're words that are used to describe something that is so pure and so true about anyone and everyone. Everyone is from that pure loving source, is loved and blessed. You can actually use those words to describe yourself, as well as anything else, really. And so anyone and everyone has access to that at any time, because it's already there. It's just not everyone feels that or knows that yet. But that doesn't mean it's not there for you. And so I started playing with those words, and I would just feel this kind of, it's not overwhelming, but it was just kind of like this yes that would just kind of come up and out and just be there. And I was just like, okay, there is some kind of, I guess because it's such a pure truth, and so that pure loving soul, like I said, that everyone has, is, that's gonna, if you ask that, am I loved and blessed? It's gonna say yes. If you ask that pure loving source or God or Jesus, whoever, whatever, it's going to say yes. And so there was just this, I don't know if it was an alignment, but the words seemed very balanced as well. So in with that could be balancing and this alignment, but also playing with them. And I was just like, some days I would like think it or say it, and I would feel like this little tightness or something sometimes. And so I started actually playing with it indirectly as well. Like, okay, let's say this is my stuff right here, loved and blessed, because isn't that true? And I can play with that, obviously, yes. And so I started just playing with that, and I noticed things starting to change. And it was just like, there was just this lightness about it, because it's not all serious and all this stuff. It helps to lighten things up so that you can see things more clearly and understand things a little bit more clearly, or at least differently. I like to call it wonderfully different. So things kind of start to change in a way that's wonderfully different versus it being so scary. Change can be a scary thing for some people, and this kind of helps with that in a different way. So imagine all of your stuff, whether it be past, or imagine all the stuff that you've put out into the universe that's creating and manifesting all this stuff. Imagine that being loved and blessed. Your journey, your life, your path here being loved and blessed. And because it truly is, it's just you're using this each and every day. So it's kind of turned into just a daily practice, or I like to call it just playing with that. But if you do it, I found that if you do it regularly and use this regularly, it really helps to shift things or change things, like I said, to something wonderfully different. And what I felt such a relief with it was that it is only helpful. So it can do no wrong, and you can't do it wrong, and it can do no harm. So it's foolproof, because anyone can do it anywhere. And play with that and see what happens. It can only help. And it's amazing the things that have been changing by playing with that. And there's so many other aspects and possibilities to this that we'll get more into, but that's about it. That kind of sums it up, though.
I love that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it reminds me of what Dr. Wayne Dwyer said. When you change the way you look at things, the more the things you look at change. Yeah. So if you look at everything through that lens of loved and blessed, it can't help but change your whole world and your perspective to everything, eh? I just, then I guess you can just take a deep sigh and know that you're just held in that pure source loving energy, because you're already loved and blessed just by breathing.
Yeah, and playing with that every day, you're not only playing with that and kind of reaffirming that for yourself, whether it's a mantra or an affirmation, because even that, you don't have to push it. Like there's no pressure. There's no pressure with it. There's no forcing it. It's just, it flows and it's very easy and effortless. And it's kind of like, it's kind of hard to put into words sometimes, because it is so pure and simple and you're trying to explain something that is just that. So it's just really so many wonderful ways that you can apply it, and it can just change, like I said, it just lightens things up. And it's amazing what can be noticed, but also not everyone's going to feel it right away or have that connection with it, and like I said, there's no pressure. So it is kind of like just play with it and see what happens. But if you do it, I do it throughout the day, every day.
All day, yeah.
And I found that those that have practiced it and played with it every day, and throughout the day, it doesn't matter how often you do it, but I do notice some of the people that have mentioned what has been changing for them are people that play with it more often. Some people did it and then they just kind of got busy or whatever, but it takes just a couple seconds to say, okay, loved and blessed. And it's just, I don't know, it just changes things. Very interesting.
I love it, Christy. What I love so much is that you do have a way of coming up with the simplest little games or playfulness, things that we can play with that are so revealing, so refreshing. Like, remember your what if game. That's another one. When you're whatever's going on, oh man, oh this, but what if it turned out better? Or what if we were loved and blessed? I mean, I like the way you give us a place where we could stop and feel and notice these things and then see the beauty that really is there. I really love that.
Yeah. And that was the thing that I said for many years, is that I knew that there is, things don't have to be difficult. All this stuff in life doesn't have to be so difficult and challenging or complicated, especially when it comes to spirituality. Because with that, if you kind of start peeling away all the stuff that I know that the stuff that I had learned about it and that I thought it was ended up being so different, wonderfully different. It's more pure and simple. It's not all these complicated things, and it's not all these conditions. That's the other thing, is that and that's how I knew that that there was a pure message in with this, was because it was so pure and simple and unconditional and universal. So it doesn't just work for just this person or just that person, or only on the good things or only on the bad thing. It's everything. It's universal. So when you have something that is unconditional and universal, that's when you know you're onto something so pure that can help anything, is because there's not all these conditions. It'll only help if, and it can only help, when. It's none of that. It's just so pure and simple. And I know y'all play with the Akashic records and things like that. So imagine wherever your stuff goes, whether it's Akashic records, some people call it a quantum field. Some people, it's like this sort of escrow account. I think Esther Hicks calls it that. And wherever in the universe your stuff goes, that loved and blessed, because isn't there a truth in that? So if there's truth in that, then it's like, wouldn't it apply to your stuff as well? Of course, because you have this pure loving source that's not going to sit there and judge the stuff necessarily, or you for having this stuff. It's going to say, okay, you can, it can be loved and blessed in that way. And what I love about it is, as well, is that with so many other techniques and modalities and things like that, there weren't any and there's so many that I learned, and there weren't any that I was 100% comfortable with 100% of the time. Right. And with this, it's just like, there's none of that. There's no expectations and pressure and all this other stuff. And but it can be used to complement those things. If you choose to use techniques and modalities, it absolutely can complement them and help with those. But that place in which your stuff goes, whether it's the records or wherever, like I said, loved and blessed, and you can play with that, and it really can change so much, because it also is telling the universe each and every day, though, that you're also choosing loved and blessed, whether it's you have thoughts, or whether you feel this way about something, or whether this is going on or that, loved and blessed. And it seems to just allow things to resolve more easily and effortlessly, or naturally even.
It does.
So you've had some, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Beth.
I was going to say, I think the thing that's like the point of view of mine that's most powerful about it is that it takes you out of resistance and puts you into allowing, because you realize that everything that shows up is loved and blessed. Even if it seems like a challenge, that challenge is loved and blessed, and it really helps you to be able to overcome things. Like I told you before the show, my personal experience since you introduced us to this has been that challenges seem to dissolve faster. They seem to, they're still going to show up, but the understanding that they're showing up to serve a purpose, has been much easier. And so the resistance tends to settle, and it becomes more of a space of allowing, which helps us to flow through life much easier.
Yeah. And it also helps you to feel like you don't have to know what that purpose is before it can resolve necessarily, because sometimes when things resolve more easily, effortlessly, naturally, or just with that loved and blessed, if it served a purpose, you will just know, versus having to suffer or struggle your way through it. Because is that really necessary? I don't believe that it is. Right. To have to suffer or struggle through things. It's not to say that you're not going to suffer or struggle at any point in time, but it's just to say that there's not that, you don't have to carry that around like you have to go through that in order to, because that makes it conditional. And so this kind of resolves and clears up and just kind of clears that path for some of those conditions as well.
Right.
You've had some concrete feedback from some of the people that you work with or have worked with, or that have joined on your Facebook page. Can you give us some of those stories?
Yeah. And there's a couple of things. So I'll go through some of the things that people have shared with me. And then also, before I get to that, though, I'm just going to give you a brief understanding here. I did like a post that says, what happens when someone or something is loved and blessed unconditionally? And some of the answers were that one of them was, it grows in beautiful ways. Someone else had commented transformation. Someone had commented, you feel lighter, you expand, you grow, you're able to move forward. Another one was, they start to love themselves and love and bless unconditionally others. And there was peace and serenity, but also security. And they experienced their true magic that was always meant to be. Those were just some of the answers that I received. And so wouldn't that really apply to, like I said, everything, or, especially for you? But so you take that, and then some of the things that people have experienced, just a few. And like I said, the results are not always going to be the same for everyone. Everyone is going to have a different experience, and in different ways, because some of these things that someone else has let me know about, I haven't experienced those things yet, but I've experienced other wonderful things. So some of them were, and they wanted to kind of mention too, like, when we started kind of playing with this, they said that they didn't feel or think the way they do now. And they didn't think that, they were just like, okay, loved and blessed. Okay, what is that doing? And then it just started to kind of, like I said, there started being clarity around that. And then it just kind of made its way to where they could, like, they just connected with it, or things just started changing and they were just like, oh, wow. So, but yeah, they started to feel and think differently. And they're much more happier and calmer. They have more compassion and understanding. Those were just some of the things they noticed. When they're cooking, they said that their foods taste better and different, in a wonderfully different. And some of the house plants in their home that had not bloomed for years started blooming. I mean, these are just, I don't know if you want to call them coincidences, and that's great too, whatever you want to call them. But their memories even started to change to where they weren't hurtful anymore. They were just memories. And it was just like that became much more clear, is that it's just a memory. It doesn't mean that it's actually true right now. Mm-hmm. And some other things were that someone felt and looked younger, like some of the wrinkles on their face started just vanishing. And someone, they had like 3 moles on their face that they had had since childhood. They fell off. Like they're no longer there. Incredible. They don't have the moles anymore. And they didn't even set an intention for these things. This just happened so naturally just by them playing with this. It just happened automatically. And they sleep better. They just feel lighter. They said it's really calming, not only for them, but for those around them. And I've found that to be true as well. It's very calming. It's very peaceful. But there is a groundedness, if that's a word, to it. Mm-hmm. And so and I feel that because it just is. And if you go back to, okay, pure and simple, it just is. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to add all this stuff to it for it to work, or for it to help, or for it to be true. That's very grounding. So imagine the foundation in which you experience things upon, such as maybe it's from past, whether it be fears or sadness or whatever it is. Maybe your life seems to be built upon that right now. Imagine that changing, because you're not saying that that's right or wrong, good or bad. You're saying that all that stuff is loved and blessed. So your foundation starts to change, not only from the loved and blessed, but to more of the loved and blessed. And imagine your reality, your life, your experiences being built upon, more influenced by that versus old stuff. Imagine how your life can change. And that's what this is doing. And that's what it can do for anyone.
So it changes people's perspective from the life, from the perspective that life is happening to you, mm-hmm. to that one that life is happening for you.
Yeah. And you're here to live. Yeah. And there's no pure loving source that's going to say, okay, you have to continue living this, life full of stress and all these emotions and things like this. When no, it's going to say, no, you're here to live. You're here to live a beautiful and amazing life and not be stuck in old stuff. And you don't have to keep doing that. And of course, that may have been there to help you at some point in time, but this helps you to start to move forward in a different way. Right. So you're not losing anything and you're not giving up anything. So there's no pressure to do anything other than just play with this and see what happens. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Very cool. I know what I'm going to be starting to put on all my little Post-it notes around the house.
Exactly. Just
stick them on the mirror and stick them on the fridge and everywhere else, just to remind me to have that intention in my head that everything is loved.
Can I put it on my kid's forehead? Like all
sure.
Of them, there you go.
On their forehead. Probably just an ink, not permanent tattoo. Would be better.
All right. And Kirath here is saying, even the physical body. Oh, yeah, look, that is so great.
That's beautiful.
Teresa. But yeah, Kirath is saying here that the physical body can grow better. Of course, because it's loved and blessed versus feeling like it's trapped in whatever from before. it's actually loved and blessed, and there is a truth to that. So imagine how helpful that can be for the cells of your body, your genetics, your DNA, whatever you want to call that. All of that starts to change for the better.
Yeah. Start working on my tooth.
Everything does. Everything changes for the better. It
And you don't
doesn't
have
get
to
worse.
sit there. Yeah, it's only helpful. That's the wonderful thing about this, and how it just feels so light and free and airy, because that's what it's for, is that there, like I said, there's no pressure, but also you can't go wrong.
Right.
You can't go wrong with it. It can do no harm. I mean, loved and blessed. It's a pure, loving, from a pure loving source. So you're not saying that you have to have this or feel this first in order for, so that would be conditional. This is unconditional. It's from a pure loving source saying this is true anyway.
So Nancy was saying, so Christy, are you saying you just repeat loved and blessed a few times a day? But that segues into the little exercise you were going to do for us.
Yeah. So, and also you can add the word yes to it, because just play with that. But also, when you say thank you, that really helps, because you're saying, okay, loved and blessed, thank you. So it's that gratitude that starts to surround it as well, because that's just a natural thing about it as well. And so it's there not out of, oh, I've got to be loved and blessed so that and then you're adding all these intentions and conditions and all these things. No, you're saying, okay, and I'll snap my fingers sometimes and just say, okay, pure and simple. And that just takes it right back to, okay, it's just pure and simple, loved and blessed. Yes, thank you. But yeah, you can just say loved and blessed, because the gratitude really comes with it. But when you add that thank you to it, that can be a bonus. And if you can say it when you're smiling, sometimes that's a little added bonus too, especially when you do the breathing exercise that we're going to do quickly here, is that even if you don't feel it or whatever, but if you just add a little smile, sometimes it's not necessary, but it's just a little added bonus sometimes. Cool. So yeah, but we can get into that if y'all are ready.
Sure. Yeah. I'm going to put you on the full screen. I'm going to mute my microphone to make me quiet. So.
All right. So let's get started here. So, okay. So we're going to just kind of be right here, right now, just for this moment, because that's all you ever are, really, is right here, right now. It's just, the other stuff, though, starts to, like I say, get loved and blessed, and so it changes. Okay, so if you take a deep breath in, and we're going to do it first with the words, but then after that, you don't have to keep saying the words with it unless you really want to. So let's just take just a moment. Take a deep breath in, and you're breathing in that loved and blessed. And out, loved and blessed. And you can follow that just for that first time with a thank you if you want. Okay, so that same thing, breathing in, loved and blessed, breathing out, loved and blessed, and then just as you're sighing out, it's just a thank you. So you don't have to say that, but it's just an intention for this moment. And it's because it's already there anyway. Every breath you take is loved and blessed anyway. So it's just really helping. It's like a breath of fresh air. So let's just take a few deep breaths just for a minute. Breathing in, all the way in and out. Deep breath in. And all the way out. In. And out. And you can do that however you want and whenever you want, as often as you want. And it's that simple. And when you can just say thank you. And it just really wraps it in that gratitude. And it's just, the other thing is singing in the shower, dance in bed. Yes. And so that brings me to another little thing that I do sometimes. You can come up with like a little sing song with it, like a la, 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 loved and blessed, whatever you want to do. At one time, I know it was, and this is just a funny thing, it's just, the TV had been on. I leave it on sometimes when I leave and my dog is at home. And so I leave the TV on for her, and there was a show on or something, and I saw that they were singing the YMCA song. And and so there's a part of that song, I don't know, it's just some of the not the lyrics, but just the music in it kind of got stuck with the loved and blessed. And so I just kind of played with that. And so you can just find like a little tune or make up your own to play with it. Like I said, the more playful you are with it, that's even better. But you can just say it. You can, like I said, when you just kind of, I imagined, this is another thing that came in, like a funnel. Okay. So kind of small here, big up here. So it could be even an upside down triangle. So imagine all of creation, like the beginning, the very pure beginning of all creation, loved and blessed. So there's a truth to that. Like I said, it may not be those exact words, but those are words used to describe it. So if you have a different word or words you want to use, and as long as they're pure and simple with this, it's going to help. So if you have other words that work better for you, by all means, please use loved and blessed, unless you have something even better that works for you. That's great. So that beginning of creation, loved and blessed, and everything goes back to the universe. So it's loved and blessed. So it really, there is this, if it goes back to loved and blessed, and it comes from loved and blessed, everything in between truly is loved and blessed. So it kind of will help you bring an awareness, or just allow, just kind of like clearing the path for whatever that truth is for you to reveal itself more clearly, easily, effortlessly. And so, yeah, so that's a wonderful thing that you can, that's the reason why I will just kind of play with it and just circle around up here and kind of come down and then back up, and just play with it. And if you want to imagine your stuff being here, just, or whether it be your past, your present, your future, your stuff, wherever that goes, loved and blessed. Karma is another good example. People talk about karma, and whether it be karma or maybe even trauma for some people, or whatever else. You hear people talk about timelines. You hear people talk about all kinds of stuff. Okay. There's so many terms that I've learned from the spiritual communities and things, but really there's such a simplicity to these things that they don't have to be such a big thing. It can be there can be a simplicity to even those things. So imagine though that even if you want to take, most people will talk about karma, you hear people talk about that. So imagine that being right here, loved and blessed. Okay. Because there's a truth to that, and it applies to that stuff too, because it's not excluded just because whatever. It's included because it is, it is loved and blessed. And so it's just something that is very interesting, like I said, to play with.
Yes.
But also, if you want to ask the question, what am I? Loved and blessed. That can be a simple answer. Who am I? Loved and blessed. That can be a pure and simple answer. You don't have to know all this other stuff. You can if you want to. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with the stuff. But imagine, though, simplifying it to who am I? Loved and blessed. What am I? Loved and blessed. You don't have to say I am loved and blessed if that doesn't feel good for you right now. That's fine. You can just ask a simple question, and from that pure loving source, loved and blessed, wouldn't that be a yes answer? So it's as simple as that.
That's wonderful. People can find you on your web page, on your Facebook page. And what is that called? I know we've got links to it, but just so people have it.
Yeah, the Facebook page is Christy Warnick 1, so facebook.com/Christy Warnick 1. And it's also Christy Warnick, if you want to know the title of the page, it says Inspired Transformation. So I changed it to that last year, I think it was. And then if you have a question, or I'm not really like doing like any type of the energy healing sessions and stuff like that anymore. But if you would like to play with this loved and blessed, or if you would like for me to speak to someone or explain it to someone the best I know how to, I'm happy to do so. So you can email me at christywarnick1@gmail.com. And I'll put all of that in the links to all of that in the comments.
And you've done a couple of YouTube videos on this as well. So
I did one so
channel.
far. Yeah, I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live soon because I feel like we can all start to experiment with this. It can be a fun experiment. And then also kind of comment back after you've played with it, what's going to happen? You know, what happened for you? What did you notice? Not that you have to notice anything because it's going to happen anyway. So it's not like you have to notice it in order for it to happen, or you have to acknowledge it for it to happen. None of that. No. This is simplifying all that to say, you know, things are going to change and you're just going to notice them. You don't have to, but it's just going to be that simple.
Cool. So, Christy, we have a few questions we always ask everybody.
Yep.
So the first question is, if you had a theme song for your life right now, what would that be?
Oh, gosh.
What comes to mind?
I don't really have a theme song at the moment, other than I may change it to "Loved and Blessed, Thank You," and make up a new song. I know
that's perfect.
So,
Yes.
There you go.
And we also always ask our guests, do you have any favorite crystals, or are you working with any favorite crystals right now? Do you have any?
It's interesting how all that changed as well. Not like I feel like I can appreciate them and even love them, but I don't feel like I have to have them for this, and this, and this anymore. Because I used to use them for different things. Oh, well, this one does this and this one does that. I get to appreciate all of them now without feeling like I have to use them or have them. But I can, and it's great. So I love the rose quartz and amethyst, but I find them all so beautiful now that I don't really have a favorite anymore, but it's wonderful.
It's like trying to pick a favorite child, right?
Yeah, or a favorite, this or that or the other that you like multiple things of. And so even those things start to change, but I don't feel like I've lost anything or I'm having to give up anything. Right. It's just changing so much more naturally and easily, but like I said, I'm not losing anything in the process. So it's just interesting.
That's
really Isn't that great? So I would like to ask each of you real quickly, if we have just a moment. I know each of you played around with this when I introduced it to you a couple of weeks ago. So what have each of you noticed? Do you have anything that you would like to share, or just in general that y'all have noticed? Teresa, I know you had mentioned something.
Yeah.
My thing is, I have a neighbor that moved in next door, and we have a common wall between us. And suddenly, after that happened, I became overwhelmed with anxiety again. And I could see, yeah, maybe there's this reason, maybe there's that reason, but it really wasn't my energy. So when I woke up in a condition where I wasn't breathing, my high blood pressure was over the wall, and I'm sitting there and I thought, this is why they brought Christy into my life again. And so I started doing, actually lucidly, I started tapping, EFT tapping. And I kind of went through with loved and blessed, loved and blessed. Mm-hmm. And like I said, when I woke up then, I thought, oh, okay. And I continued with it and loved and blessed, loved and blessed. And it released my whole, that parasympathetic system. It was like all tight. And now it's like I was able to breathe and bring it in. But using it like that for an emergency is good. But when you use it just all day long, loved and blessed, because I feel it when I say it. It's not just an abstract word, it's a feeling. And when I'm feeling that, it fills me up and I'm able to share it all around. And so I love this, what you brought us.
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Bex? You were talking about
next.
Yeah. So I have had a couple of situations, and I've been using it. I try to remember every day. I've been working on practicing every, like as much as I remember. But like recently, even I've had some situations that would have typically stressed me out to the max, where I shut down. That's my default when I get overwhelmed really badly. And I found that not only did I not shut down, but I was able to move through the heavy emotions much faster, so that I wasn't becoming so lost in the worst case scenarios. I was able to, move through it and see the positives much faster, and be able to dissolve the challenging aspects, appreciating that whatever's happening is happening for a reason, and that it needed to happen that way. And, it really has helped me to be able to anchor into a much more stable and, supported space. So I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Wow. With me, I've been using it a lot. And I think the thank you part really helps, because, it's all the synchronicities and all the way that the edges of things start smoothing out, of every situation starts smoothing out. And it just means you can glide along so much easier with loved and blessed. You just see it from a different perspective. Yeah, let's loved and blessed. And like you say, it's just it shifts your attitude, and everything around shifts as well.
Yeah. And I just want to thank you all for playing with it, because I know I originally just came to y'all just because I knew that y'all played in the Akashic Records realm and all that stuff. And so I was like, I thought about y'all, and I was just like, oh, wow, I can, and I wasn't even thinking about the show or anything here. And so I was just like, I'm just going to share it with them, because I just feel like, they could really use that or play with it or share it, whatever, however. And so I just encourage other people out there, whoever's watching this. I see this as being like a pay it forward thing. Like I said, it's free. It doesn't belong to anyone. Okay. So that's the other thing. It doesn't require an activation, a download, a attunement, none of that stuff. Okay. So we're pure and simple here. Anyone, anywhere, pure and simple and it's free. It only takes a couple seconds throughout the day, and it can just become part of your daily practice or daily routine or just whatever. And so, I mean, you can't go wrong with it. So it's like, why wouldn't you at least try it? But don't give up on it after a few days if you don't notice something. That was the other thing. Right. It was like, I noticed some things at first, but I just kind of brushed them off a little bit, because I was like, I don't know what this is doing. But something just kept going with it. I was just like, okay, encouraged to keep going. So something was just like, kept saying, keep going. So I was just like, okay. So after a couple of weeks, I was just like, yeah, I don't know, but I'm going to keep doing it. And the more it just every single day for like several months now, that's just been part throughout the day. I just say that because that's what it's helping with, is really changing that foundation. But also there's so much that it's doing that you haven't even seen yet. That's so wonderful, that can show up at any time. And we don't always know the when and the where and the how. And that's the mystery of the universe. I don't know how the universe works exactly. I don't know that anyone actually does. And so, but it can only help to be loved and blessed, right? Yeah. So, someone I was talking to, they said, yeah, just put it out there like an experiment and just say, I dare you to use it, to play with it and see what happens. You have no excuse. It doesn't take your time. It doesn't take your energy. It's just fun to do. It's free. Anyone can do it. So, there is no magic, this or that or the other with it. Just keep playing with it and see what happens. Yeah. So why not?
I think the thing that I really, really appreciate about it is that, we are so aware that we have a ridiculous amount of repetitive thoughts every single day, and so when you start implementing this and reprogramming your brain and anchoring in your awareness, those repetitive thoughts become so supportive, so abundant. And, so many times I found myself getting and I call it a trap, because in a sense, when you're chasing affirmations all the time and finding new ones to bring in, and it's really hard to remember the list of things you are, or you're thankful for, or it becomes so much. This is all encompassing. You don't have to remember all the affirmations anymore.
There you go. It can help with all of that. If you have affirmations, that's great. Imagine them being loved and blessed. Imagine where your thoughts come from and why they're there, and all these questions that you might have. Imagine whatever that is. You don't have to know it. Right. It's still loved and blessed, and it just changes. And that can happen for anyone. So no one is excluded. And so it is definitely wonderful. And share out this video. There's a YouTube video I'm going to put in the comments. And I'll be doing a Facebook Live. So if you like and follow the page, I'm going to put the link in the comments there. I'll do a live video there when we can maybe start some type of experiment with this, and maybe I can come back here and we can experiment even more. And but I'll definitely be sharing this video in the comments to my other ones as well, so that people can really have so many reference points to this.
Yeah.
That's
we
awesome.
could do a challenge right now. I dare you all to start a 30-day loved and blessed practice. 30 days.
Just
try
put
30
the
days.
hashtag and hashtag loved and blessed in all of your posts.
Yeah.
So we
see
can
what happens in 30 days. If you implement that every day throughout your day, just drop it a little bit here and there, and you'll start to see positive, huge, powerful, positive changes.
And once this gets to the collective, it'll be all over. I love it.
I see it as having that ripple effect. So it's like, I don't feel the pressure that I have to change the world with it. I'm just like, okay, I shared it. Now each person, there's no obligation to do so. But if you feel inspired to do so, then do it. But keep using it. And maybe when you start to notice changes, you can share it with someone else, or share it with them anyway, whether you've noticed changes yet or not, because you never know who is going to benefit from that message.
Awesome. Thank you. So thank you all for joining us today. And next week is Mother's Day, loved and blessed. And so we decided that we're going to give you guys all a Mother's Day present, right?
Yes.
We're all going to be pulling some cards. I guess that's what we've decided on doing. So we'll have to firm that up, how it's going to go. But please join us next week, and we will be pulling some wonderfully loved and blessed.
Did we get the last question, though? About
I haven't asked you the last question, Christy. Sorry, forgot. The last question is: have you ever experienced extra-dimensional intelligence? Obviously, but or ETs or something like that. Have you had any of those experiences? Have you ever experienced it?
Not directly, but I feel like with this, for example, I feel like it was just a pure, like I said, a message from a pure divine source, or pure loving source, because it just felt, because of the whole unconditional and universal parts to it and purity of it, that it wasn't all complicated. So I don't feel like it was something that I made up myself alone. So, just things like that.
Exactly.
But yeah, we've all had, I've had visions and things like that, and things come to me over time, but not a direct experience with ETs, I would say.
Okay.
But the other thing is that the I don't know, there was something about just different ways that people receive messages, though. Like with this, for example, I can look back now. I did a search on Facebook for any posts that I'd used those words loved and blessed in. And it took me back to 2019 was the first time I used those two words together, or three if you count and. And so, but in January of 2020, I think it was back in December, someone had asked me to send them an affirmation. I was doing like a summit or something for someone, and I had sent them the affirmation, I am always loved and blessed. And so that showed up when I went back through my pictures, I found it where I'd taken a screenshot of the Instagram post, and it was from January of 2020. But the first time I'd used those specific words in posts and things like that was 2019. So I can see now the breadcrumbs that led up to this just pure and simple message, and whatever that anyone can do. So I feel like that was something, I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I know. That's the way it comes sometimes. So the last thing I have to tell is who won last week. And the winner that won last week and won with Teresa, a session is May Ward. So
Here's what I'm giving May. I made this up. And May, I'm going to connect in with your energy when I talk to you, and I'm going to put a little bit more on it just for you, but I'm sending you a little loved and blessed altar chip.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we have surprises this week. So that's great. So join us next week, everybody. And remember, loved and blessed. You can put it in your stories every day, in your Facebook stories or in your Instagram stories. That would be nice to see in everybody's story. Just a little number sign, loved and blessed, and something that you are grateful for or feel loved and blessed about, or just that you actually start using the words and it sort of is a trigger in your mind to use them. So that's a great 30-day challenge. Let's try that. That's awesome.
Yep.
Thank you. So thanks,
Thank you
Christy.
all. Absolutely.
so
I'm
much.
just so grateful to be here. And also, I'll be checking back through the comments. So if anyone has any other questions, just put them there and I will do my best to look at those and check in with that. And thank you all for being here.
Ooh.
Thanks.
Have a
And I'm going to just
Namaste.
take us out with this. Just one moment. And I'm going to do this.